In this video, we're going to look at content. There are two different ways that we can interact with content on our D2L page. First, on the right-hand side of the screen is the D2L Content Browser. This browser allows you to conveniently interact with the content on the D2L page from the home page without having to go into other links. Now here we can see a list of all of the different modules that the content is organized under. When clicking on any of these modules, we're brought to the actual content itself that falls under each respective category. Now there might be content and there might be more links to sub-modules, but from here you can click on any of the content and it will bring you to said piece. Now on top of the content browser, you can see there are two links, back and home. Now right now, those will both do the same thing because we're only one layer in. However, if we'd clicked on multiple sub-modules, back would bring us one level up and home would bring us back to the main browser page. Similarly, on top there are two more links. Bookmarks, which allow you to quickly access content items that you've bookmarked, as well as recently viewed items, which allows you to look at the pieces of content which you've viewed in your recent past. The other way to interact with content is to go onto the top navigation bar and click on the content link. Here you'll see that the screen is divided into two different parts. On the left we have the content map, and on the right we have the normal list of content. Now these both have the exact same information, simply provide you with different ways of interacting and sorting through the content depending on which part of your D2L page you're on. First we'll look at the main content list. Here you can see a list sorted by module of all the content that your instructor has uploaded to your course. There can be various file types, various subcategories, and clicking on any of them will bring you to that piece of content. Here, we're opening up a PDF. Now, PDFs, along with a number of other file types, can be opened right up in our D2L page, meaning we don't have to go to any external sites or download anything onto our computer. We can simply view them here as is. Now, some other file types might require a download, such as Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. When clicking on those, we'll be prompted with a download window, which allows us to either open the file immediately or download to our computer for later opening. However, when on the PDF, as we've seen before, it opens right in the browser. Now in this window, we have a few options for things we can do to interact with our content. First, on the top, we can bookmark the content to easily jump to it later if we know it's something we're going to be returning to. Next to that is a drop-down menu with more actions. The first action under this More Actions tab is feedback. This allows you, the student, to provide feedback that both the instructor and your fellow students can look at pertaining to that specific piece of content. Below that, we have the option to hide the side map. The side map is simply, as I've said, a list of all of our content and stays there while we're viewing content, allowing us to easily jump between pieces. However, sometimes we want a better view or a more zoomed-in view of the content we're observing, so this allows us to take that away. And the last action under More Actions is the ability to open up the piece of content in a new window. This will simply open up a new browser window which hosts just that piece of content. Now moving over to the right more, we have more options. We have a Previous and Next button. As we can see, the Previous button is grayed out because we were on the very first piece of content. If we were somewhere in the middle, we could move both back and forth, which will move us up and down the list on the left-hand side of the screen, moving us between pieces of content. On the very far right, we have the Exit button. Clicking this will simply bring us back to the main content page. Now we can see above the list of content, we have a few more options. Right above the content is a basic search bar. Here you can type in various terms or keywords to allow you to sort through pieces of content very quickly and efficiently. As you can see, when typing in something such as syllabus, the results immediately pop up below. Now if we go back to our main list of content, we can see the other options. Right on the right above the search bar is the Bookmark button. This allows us to bookmark a piece of content that we can come to later or to view our bookmarks that we've already bookmarked. Immediately to the right of that is the Download button. Sometimes we might not want to view a piece of content immediately. We might want to download numerous pieces of content so we can look at them later without having to jump back online to D2L. From here we can check the pieces that we want to download, click the Download button, and we will be presented with a zip folder containing all the pieces of content that we requested. We can simply unzip the folder and everything will be there for you. Now, lastly, from the main page, we can see the list of recently visited things, or last visited things. If we click this, we'll see the last piece of content that we observed. This syllabus was the last object that we'd opened, so by clicking the most recently visited object button, we're brought straight here. That about covers it for content.